smiling in the grocery store line, answering I'm fine for the 100th time. My face is calm, a practice still facade, while inside I am screaming out to God. The sound is ripping through my silent cord. The seismic never-ending internal war, but my lips are sealed, my voice is underground, and no one hears the terrifying sound. This unheard cry is shaking my foundation, a silent, desperate, lonely incantation. It builds like pressure in a volcano's heart, tearing my very being all apart. I'm waving flags from a sinking ship at sea, but no one's looking out for little me. This definite, unheard cry. I post the pictures of a sunny day. I laugh along with everything they say. I am the rock, the one who's always strong, while singing this internal grieving song. The loneliest place in all the world to be is trapped inside your own reality, with windows to a world that seems so bright, while you were drowning in the endless night. This unheard cry, it's echoing in space, with no receiver, no familiar face. It builds like pressure in a volcano's heart, tearing my very being all apart. I'm sending SOS in a broken code, carrying this unbearable heavy load. This desperate, unheard cry. If a heart breaks and no one hears, I tune the piano to the sound of the rain, added a cello to carry the pain. But there's no one in the balcony, no one in the pit, just me and the music and the candle I lit. The conductor is missing, the sheet music's torn, but a song for the lonely is being reborn. It's a symphony for one tonight, played in the shadows of a flickering light. 100 violins that only I hear, drowning the doubt and the ghosts and the fear. The crescendos are heavy, the solos are deep, and I am the secret that I have to keep. I don't need an audience to prove I exist, or brass section roar at the walls of this room. Let the percussion break through the gloom. I am the orchestra, I am the song, and I've been the composer all along. The final note lingers long after I'm done. A symphony for one. The radiator's humming, the window pane is cold, but your hand is in mine, a story being told, in silent little pressures, in the way our eyes meet. Outside the world is rushing, and here the time is sweet. We know these hours are numbered, a brief escape from all the noise. So we soak up every second, every quiet little joy. It's just borrowed time we're living, a lease about to end. But for now you are here, my lover and my friend. These are borrowed minutes in a cold room, chasing away the inevitable gloom. Every second is a treasure more valuable than gold, a warmth against the winter, a story to be told. If only for a moment we can be the closing door and love each other fiercely forevermore. The world will call us back soon, with its demands and heavy sighs. But I'm lost within the ocean of your beautiful eyes. We don't need the grand gestures, the fireworks, the big display. Just this quiet connection, making darkness run away. We can't control, and feeding every moment deep into my soul. These are borrowed minutes in a cold room, chasing away inevitable gloom. Every second is a treasure more valuable than gold, a warmth against the winter, a story to be told. If only for a moment we can be the closing each other fiercely forevermore. When we leave this room, the cold will start to creep, but the memory of this warmth is a secret I will keep. It sustains me through the waiting, through the miles, through the gray, knowing we had this moment, we made a brighter day. These are borrowed minutes in a cold room, chasing away the inevitable gloom. Every second is a treasure more valuable than gold, a warmth against the winter, a story to be told. If only for a moment we can be the closing door and love each other fiercely forevermore. Borrowed minutes house is so quiet. The morning is slow, and the golden light falls on in a long steady glow. I'm watching the particles dance in the air, weightless and silent without any care. They don't have a purpose, they don't have a plan. They just drift through the light for as long as they can. Like dust moves in a sunbeam, we're drifting along. Small and unnoticed, but that's where we belong. Floating in gold for a moment or two, before the day changes and the light passes through. There's a peace in the tiny, a grace in the small. We don't have to be giants to matter at all. The world is so heavy, with big crashing things, with empires falling, and the winter that stings. But here in this corner, the light is enough to soften the edges of a life that is rough. Just a billion small pieces of yesterday's dreams, swirling in circles on invisible beams. Breathe it in slowly, the calm and the cold. Let go of the stories that you have been told. You're part of the shimmer, part of the glow, and that's all the forever you needed to know. Just drifting in the light, small and beautiful. I kept it on the shelf in a jar of light, a glowing, pulsing, never burning bright. I'd take it down on days when things were grim, and it would sing its hopeful, quiet hymn. But days turned into weeks and months and years of silent, secret, unshade, frozen tears. I got too busy just survive and see, to tend to what was beckoning to me. Now there's dust on hope, a soft and silvery coat, catching in the light of a forgotten note. It still glows faintly underneath the gray sun that's almost had its final day. I'm scared to wipe it clean, to see the shine. What if the light has truly crossed the line? This lock away our brightest, softest parts to protect our most vulnerable of hearts. From the crushing disappointment of the try, we let our very hope just die. Now there's dust on hope, a museum artifact of all the courage that my spirit lacked. It still glows faintly underneath the gray sun that's almost had its final day. I'll leave it on the shelf, a memory of mine, a casualty of my perpetual night. This settled dust on I'll find a claw. I stood a rattle of your keys in the lock, but it's just the wind playing games with the clock. I found myself stopping to hear what you say, but the air is just hollow and the light is just gray. You left in a hurry, or maybe just slow. Either way, the resonance is all that I know. It's just echoes of an empty hallway, calling out the things we didn't get to say, bouncing off the plaster, fading in the dark, searching for a fire, but there isn't a spark, just a vibration of a name I can't call, echoing against the wall. I try to fill the space with the sound of the TV, but the characters are strangers who don't even see me. I hum to myself just to break up the quiet, but my voice is a ghost in a noiseless riot. The footsteps I hear are just ghosts in my mind, searching for the pieces you left far behind. Sound needs a surface to bounce and to live, but I have nothing left of myself to give. The chord sticks of heartbreak are perfectly tuned in to the frequency of a soul that's been wounded. Did you hear me? Or was it just the echo? Fade and the corners are bent. A record of money and time that we spent on a beach in July, on a rooftop in May, before the colors began to just wander away. I shake the picture like it's going to change, but you're becoming a ghost and it feels so strange. Faded Polaroids of us in the sun, captured before the damage was done. Now your face is a smudge and the sky is just pale. A chemistry project destined to fail. The more that I look, the less I can see the ghost of the girl and the boy we used to be. I remember the clicking, the wait for the black to turn into something we couldn't take back. Now the light has reclaimed what the shutter once caught, and the battles we won are the ones that we fought. I'm holding a square of a memory that's gone, like a sunset that's trying to look like a dawn. If I keep 'em in the dark, will the colors stay, or is everything doomed to just turn into gray? Exposure to reality is a dangerous thing. It bleaches the soul of the songs it should sing. Just a blur of a smile in a box for a while, fading out of frame. First it was a sadness that I carried like a bag. Then it was a coat I couldn't seem to drag. Then it was a room I started to inhabit, furnishing the space with every teardrop, every habit. Now the walls have melted and the door has disappeared, and the me I knew before has slowly, strangely cleared. I am not a woman with a grief inside. I am the grief and I have nowhere left to hide. I'm fading into her, the girl who lost the light, becoming just the silhouette of night. The edges of my being, soft and undefined, a whisper left in my original mind. I don't remember joy, it's just a foreign land, a photograph held in a stranger's hand. I am fading into her. My reflection shows a woman, vague and warm, a story that is painfully but surely moving on, from person into process, in the pain's own shape, a final, total, devastating escape. Where does the person end and where does grief to me. I tick the boxes of a normal day. I know exactly what to do and say. I am a perfect functioning machine, a study in the color page and clean. There is no pain, there is no great delight, just a neutral, steady passing of the light. I am a ghost in my own skin and bone, a placeholder on a temporary throne. This hollow existence, a beautifully crafted show, ringing with the silence of a non-existent bell. I go through motions expertly designed with no true purpose. Person left behind, the world is a muted scene through several layers of glass, a performance of a life meant to pass. This perfect hollow existence. I feel the kisses, but I don't feel love. I see the sunrise, but I'm not moved. I hear the music, but it's just a sound echoing on hollow, empty ground. They say find your passion, find your spark, but what if you're just empty in the dark? What if the you that you were meant to be slipped away so quietly? This hollow existence, an elegant empty art, is still incurated, beating up a heart. I go through emotions expertly designed with no true purpose. Person left behind, the world is a muted scene through several layers of glass, a performance of a life meant to pass. This perfect hollow existence. I am here, but I am nowhere. The map was neatly folded, destinations clear. Every road a promise, every town was near. Our fingers traced the route, plans etched in bold. A story we were writing, a future to unfold. But rain began to fall, slow at first then fast, and the ink started running, blurring the past. The lines are indistinct now, the direction's gone, lost in a washout from dusk till dawn. Ink bleeding through the map we drew with care, a kaleidoscope of gray hanging in the air. The places we were going are just a color stain, washed away by circumstance, dissolved in the rain. And I'm standing at the crossroad where the legend died, with nowhere left to run to, nowhere left to hide. The compass needle spins, broken and confused. The moral of the story is the dream we've used. All the landmarks vanished, submerged by the flow of a life we didn't plan for, a path we didn't know. We can't read the coordinates, the ink has spread too far, guided by a memory, a long lost star. It's just smudges and confusion where the future used to gleam, drowning in the remnants of a beautiful dream. Ink bleeding through the map we drew with care, a kaleidoscope of gray hanging in the air. The places we were going are just a color stain, washed away by circumstance, dissolved in the rain. And I'm standing at the crossroad where the legend died, with nowhere left to run to, nowhere left to hide. Maybe a new map is needed, one drawn in pencil light that can be erased and redrawn to make things right. But for now I just hold this soggy ruined thing and listen to the silence that the blurring brings. Ink bleeding through the map we drew with care, a kaleidoscope of gray hanging in the air. The places we were going are just a color stain, washed away by circumstance, dissolved in the rain. And I'm standing at the crossroad where the legend died, with nowhere left to run to, nowhere left to hide. Oh, no north, no south. Oh, just ink bleeding through. What now? What now? I cut your name from a page of my old diary, folding the edges until they felt like a sanctuary. I carried us in my pocket like a secret prize, believing the promises in your hazel eyes. But the clouds moved in without a warning sign, and the sky turned the color of a bruised design. Now it's just paper hearts in the rain, watching the ink dissolve into the drain. Everything we folded is coming apart, waterlogged pieces of a fragile start. Oh, the pulp is heavy and the edges are gray. Love wasn't built for a stormy day. You were the origami of a perfect life, sharp edge beauty, a gentle kind of knife. Now I'm standing on the pavement, looking at the mess, a million little pieces of a yes turned less. I try to pick them up, but they tear in my hand. A map of a country that turned into sand. Glue won't hold when the world is this is wet, and I haven't found a way to dry out yet. The colors are bleeding, the red turns to rust, turning our history into a layer of dust. Close your eyes, let the rhythm take the lead. The ocean knows exactly what a tired heart needs. The salt is a cleanser, the tide is a broom, sweeping the shadows from the corners of the room. You've been carrying the weight of a world on your back. Let it sink to the bottom, let the tension go slack. Sing yourself a saltwater lullaby underneath the velvet of a midnight sky. Let the waves wash the sting from your weary eyes as the moon begins to whisper and the morning starts to rise. It's a song for the broken, a melody for the deep. Go to sleep, little darling, go to sleep. The pearls are just scars that the sea turns to light, and you'll find your own beauty at the end of the night. There's a comfort in knowing the tide always returns, even when the fire in your spirit just burns. Rocking and swaying on a cradle of blue, the universe is humming a song just for you. You don't have to swim, you just have to float in the safety of this moment, in this little wooden boat. The water is ancient, it's seen it all before. It'll carry your heavy heart back to the shore. Drifting away on the salt and the spray. Sleep now, just sleep. She ran for years with all her might and main, from the whispering shadows, from the creeping pain. She lit 1,000 lanterns, bright and warm, to keep the gathering darkness from the storm. But legs grow tired and fuel runs out at the shadow you amassed. She turned around with nothing left to fight and faced the endless, starless velvet night. And she met the darkness, not as foe but friend, and found the twisted journey had to end, not in a battle, but in an embrace, a meeting in that cold and quiet space. The darkness didn't hurt her, didn't bite. It simply said, you don't have to be the light all the time, my dear. It wrapped around her like an old worn cloak and gave her permission to be broke, to be the shattered, to be the undefined, to leave her striving perfect self behind. We fear the dark because we cannot see the parts of us we're meant to let just be. She met the darkness, and she made her home in the deep and fertile, rich and velvet loam, not in a battle, but in an embrace, a meeting in that cold and quiet space. The darkness didn't conquer, didn't win. It simply said, let your new self begin. From here, my dear. From here. In the velvet, she found her eyes. I dropped the reflection I've been polishing for years. It shattered into slivers, in the crystals of tears. Now I'm looking at 1,000 different versions of me, none of them whole, none of them free. But the window is open and the night is so vast, and the light from 1,000,000,000 years ago is falling at last. It's just starlight on a broken mirror, making the jagged edges look a little bit clearer. A galaxy of pieces, a constellation of cracks, turning my failures into silver tracks. And purely ruined, brilliantly flawed, searching for the light in a world that is hot. Each shard holds a memory, each edge holds a sting. But look how the light makes a jagged thing sing. I don't need a surface that's perfectly smooth to find the direction or to find the truth. The glow doesn't care if the glass is in one, it just wants to I see the stars are just fire, and I am a spark on a broken down wire, reflecting the sky. One piece at a time. Broken, but shining. Horizon is a broken line tonight, and I'm watching from the sand, holding on too tight to the ghost of a frequency only we could hear. Now it's just a hum in my ear, a memory I fear. The waves crash hard, washing over the spot we stood. If I close my eyes, I can almost believe we could fix the connection, bridge the saltwater divide. But you're a signal fading with a changing tide. It's just static on the shoreline, 1,000 unspoken words, yours and mine. A beautiful broadcast cut to an empty sign. Static on the shoreline, where our paths entwine in the white noise of a love we can't define. I listen to the hiss and hope for one more line. I trace the arrows of our shared history. It used to be so clear, now it's a mystery. I turn the dial, searching through the late night air for the sound of your voice, the warmth of your hair. But the airways are crowded, full of other people's joy. Just more interference built to annoy. Our frequency is silent, a dead channel on the dial. I've been staring at the sea now for a little while. It's just static on the shoreline, 1,000 unspoken words, yours and mine. A beautiful broadcast cut to an empty sign. Static on the shoreline, where our paths entwine in the white noise of a love we can't define. I listen to the hiss and hope for one more line. Maybe the message wasn't meant to last, encoded in the beauty of a fleeting past. I keep the receiver on a foolish kind of faith, waiting for a whisper, a signal of our rave. It's just static on the shoreline, 1,000 unspoken words, yours and mine. A beautiful broadcast cut to an empty sign. Static on the shoreline, where our paths entwine in the white noise of a love we can't define. I listen to the hiss and hope for one more line. Just static by the sea. The waves keep crashing endlessly. Our song is just white noise. First there's the cooling of the skin on your head. Then there's the silence that we both understand. It starts in the breathing, a shallow kind of pace, as we look for the exit in each other's face. I'm dissecting the minute, the hour, the day, to see where the forever just started to fray. This is the anatomy of a goodbye, the nerves and the muscle, the truth and the lie, the way the chest tightens, the way the eyes dry, a chemical reaction of a love that must die. It's a slow motion surgery, a cold room art, the careful removal of a piece of my heart. Next is the sound of the coat on the hook, and the weight of the one last lingering look. The nerves are all frayed and the oxygen's thin, as the ghost of the ice starts to settle within. There's no blood on the floor, just a hollowed out soul, and a list of the parts that were once so whole. They don't teach you this in the books or the schools, how to break a connection without any tools. Just the sharp edge of done and the blunt force of now, and the breaking of every unspoken vow. Fade out slowly. Goodbye is a silence. I'm walking through a house that I didn't design, where the shadows are heavy and the walls are unkind. High ceilings of silence, floors made of maybe. I'm a ghost in the hallways of the girl I was lately. There's a blueprint for sorrow in the way the doors close, a structural weakness that everyone knows. This is the architecture of loneliness, built with the bricks of a code I confess, scaffolding of secrets, windows that don't see. This is the hollow home I built inside of me. It's a masterwork of space. It's a monument to gone, and I'm the only light left on. I measure the distance from the bed to the door, counting the echoes on the hardwood floor. It's a math of subtraction, a geometry of loss. Tear it down brick by heavy brick, but the mortar of memory is stubborn and thick. I'm living in the ruins of a dream that fell through, waiting for a carpenter to start something new. Four walls and a shadow, built to last, built to keep me low. The architecture of being alone. The clock on the wall ticks louder every day, since the laughter faded and you went away. I'm mapping out the room in angles and in lines, looking for the edges where your memory shines. Every empty chair, every single corner bare, holds the subtle imprint you not being there. The silence isn't empty, it's a shape I have to learn. A cold, hard to find space where the lights won't burn. This is the geometry of silence, a precise calculation of your absence and my defiance. Angels of longing, parallel lines of pain. A quiet structure built to contain the memory of your voice, the absence of your touch in a space that misses you oh so much. The square of the window frames a sky of gray. I measure the distance you are from today. It's an infinite, a horizon I can't reach. Another lecture in the geometry you teach, about how a presence fills a space with warmth and light, and a simple absence plunges it tonight. I'm drawing diagrams of where your smile used to be, a complex equation that defeats me. This is the of silence, a precise calculation of your absence and my defiance. Angles of longing, parallel lines of pain. A quiet structure built to contain the memory of your voice, the absence of your touch in a space that misses you oh so much. Precise track, the formula is simple, but the answer's still the same. An empty set where I keep calling your name. This is the geometry of silence, a precise calculation of your absence and my defiance. Angles of longing, parallel lines of pain. A quiet structure built to contain the memory of your voice, The shape of a missing hand, the line of a missing stand, the exact dimension of goodbye. The air in this room is getting harder to breathe because of the things that I never could leave. Under the tongue, at the back of the throat, a library of letters I never quite wrote. I carried them home, I carried them out, a heavy collection of silence and doubt. Oh, the weight of unspoken words is a stone, carried in secret, carried alone. They sink in the water, they pull at the chest, a ghost of a conversation that won't let me rest. They I'm sorry's and I love yous are anchors of lead, everything living that I should have said. I see you across the expanse of the years, but the words are all tangled, golden static and tears. I open my mouth, but the gravity wins, and that's where the silence really begins. It's a mountain of senses, a valley of sighs, locked in the space between our tired eyes. If I let them all out, would I float like a bird, or would I be crushed by the things that you heard? The silence is safe, but it's killing me slow, holding on to the things I should let go. Too heavy, too late, the weight of nothing said. The pen just stopped in the middle of a word. The sweetest melody I ever heard was cut in half, a symphony undone beneath a cold, uncaring, absent sun. We were a novel in its rising phase, a complex character developing maze, but the author vanished, left the page half white in the silent middle of the night. This unfinished story, no final page, traps me in a permanent youthful age of wondering what if and what went wrong, and humming the remainder of the song. I try to write the ending on my own, but every single variation's just a stone in this unfinished story. Your last chapter ended with a comma, not a period, leaving every single feeling merely flurried. No climax, no resolution, no descent, just a fading, fragile scent. Closure is a gift that not all lovers give. Some just stop the narrative and live in a different book, a different, brighter theme, leaving you inside the unresolved dream. This unfinished story haunting all my days, a ghost of love in a confusing haze of wondering what if and what went wrong, and humming the remainder of the song. I live inside the ellipsis in all the things we never got to be in this unfinished story, to be continued.